Welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone's doing all right today. I've got a tutorial here. I'm going to show you how to remove some flyaway hairs with the Quick Select tool and the Refine Edge utility in Photoshop CS5 exclusively. So let's begin. Let's take a selection around the area where the flyaway hairs are on the outside. Alright, that'll do. Now we'll use the Select menu, Refine Edge, and we'll use the brush that it shows us here to paint around the areas that we're concerned with. You'll see it sort of snaps to those areas. We use a couple of these different parameters to refine this a bit. The Smart Radius will sort of pick up on the color differences and have the tool snap to a little bit. I like to use both the feather and contrast just to get a little bit of a cleaner selection. And then finally we'll use Decontaminate Colors. Bring that out a little bit to kind of remove some of what the light put there. We'll say OK. And it'll create us a whole new layer with just our selection, just as soon as my computer decides to do that for us. OK, let's reveal the background layer. And now we've got a nice selection. If we hit Control and we left click the layer mask, then we can see our selection. And what I like to do is I like to invert the selection by pressing Control-Shift-I, and that'll protect any of the hair on the inside from being cloned out. So we'll use the Clone Stamp tool, and we will select a source around, well, it would help if I created a new layer. So I like to create a new layer, ensure that all layers for the stamp tool is selected so that we can sample all the layers. And we'll start to clone away the flyaway hairs here. And as you can see, I'm getting my brush all over that area, and it doesn't affect it because it's protected by the inverted selection. Now, y'all know this won't be perfect, but I just want to give you the right idea. And thankfully, we have a blurry background, so it won't matter if we kind of mess that up a little bit. Clone out. Oh, well, not that. Alright, well, that'll do just for our purposes here today. So we'll deselect. We got kind of a better... Oh, wow, I took some of her forehead off. So we'll create a layer mask because we kind of do want to bring back some of the fill in the hair. If you notice, we're missing a couple little areas. So we'll select our brush tool and ensure the foreground color is black, and we'll get rid of some of that, and we'll bring back some of this. I like to use a hard brush for this, just since it's such a sharp edge we're working with. So we'll bring back some of these areas that we knocked out. No worries if it looks a little bit jagged. We'll fix that with the liquefy filter here in just a second. Alright, let's go ahead and create a whole new merged layer, which we'll do by hitting Control-Alt-Shift-E as an echo, and it'll create a merged layer on top that's got all of our layers combined inside of it. So on that one, we'll use the filter, liquefy, and we'll be using, well, we should zoom in just a bit now. And then we'll use the forward warp tool up here in the corner. We'll just sort of use the edge of the brush. That's how I like to do it. I mean, everyone is different, and we'll move in the areas that are sort of jagged so we can get it kind of around a nice clean edge where we did our edits. And I'm not super sure what that is, but let's try and push it all in there. Let's see, we'll just give it a nice... We can clone out other bits, and like I said before, it's not going to be perfect, but it's for me to show you guys how we go about using this technique. Let's see, we got a little bit of a discrepancy here, but I'm not going to worry about it for the purposes of this tutorial. That looks relatively decent, at least for the educational purposes here. let's take a look at a before and after.